Hey, 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 welcome into Out of Bounds. It's Super Wildcard Weekend Preview 2023 with your host, Todd Fox, and the other host of the show,
Carlos.
a.k.a.
Rick.
That was filled with all kinds of bass. All right, we are going to dive into this week's games. I'm sorry if you were watching the previews the other week or the other day. The not the previews, but the actual. We went over the games from the last week of the season. We had some technical issues, but those are taken care of today. So stay tuned here, as we're going to take you through each and every wild card game and talk about our thoughts on who's going to win and who's going to lose. And let's dive into the first one. And the first one is the Seattle Seahawks, the team I love and endure, and just my favorite team of all time. But they've got a tough matchup this week. They finished the year 9-8. They're 4-4 on the road. They go to San Francisco, a team that was 3-4 at one point this year. Let that sink in. They were 3-4. They finished the year just a game back of the Philadelphia Eagles for best record. At 13-4, they are 8-1 at home. They are 9.5-point favorites against the Seahawks. It's going to be cloudy with a chance of rain and 55 degrees, and the tickets are going as low as $85. Seahawks-Niners, one of the biggest rivalries in the NFL. What do you think about this game on Saturday?
Well, I've made my decision on who I'm going to go with this on this pick, but I wanted you to go first on this one because this is your team.
Okay, all right, fair enough. I'm going to go. Let me tell you, my heart's with Seattle. And I'll bring up the fact that the Seahawks had beaten, I think it was in 2004 or 2005, may have been even 2003. But anyway, long story short, Seattle played the Rams that year and beat them handily in the regular season twice. And the Mark Bolger Rams in the wild card game when Seattle was hosting lost the game in the final minutes. The Rams beat them and upset them in that wild card weekend. I think the Seahawks had won something like 11 or 12 games that year and were in the wild card and hosted a home playoff game. Either way, they lost that game. It's very hard to beat a team three times. The 49ers were in this position last year with the Rams, beat them twice during the regular season, lost in the NFC Championship game. I'm not going to say that's going to happen again. I'm just floating that out there that's a possibility. It's very difficult to beat a team three times. Seattle against Brock Purdy this year held them to 21 points. That is the lowest amount of points that the Niners have scored since Brock Purdy's been inserted to the lineup. They've been averaging over 30 points per game. Seattle kept that game close and only lost by 8 points at home. This one's on the road, I understand. I was there for week 2 when Seattle lost up in Frisco by 20 points, 27-7. But those are two totally different teams. The Niners are stacked. The Seahawks are very young and have some injury problems. I still think this game is close, but my official pick, with all that being said, is the Niners. And I think it's going to be something like a 27-21 type game.
So you're going with the 49ers?
Unfortunately, yes.
Wow, that's unfortunate. I'm not really waffling on this one so much. I've since last week, since the playoffs were announced and since the Lions beat the Packers and the Seahawks beat the Rams, man, there's something about this matchup that's if the Niners are going to win this one, they're going to win a close game. They're currently, I want to say, on a 10-game win streak, right?
Yes, they are.
So for them, I'm just thinking about it like they can win this game, but it's a divisional game. And how long are these players going to stay healthy? This is a team that's always been known for injuries. George Kittle, he's always great when he's on the field, but he's been injury prone. Christian McCaffrey's got an injured history. Deebo Samuel's coming off of injury. Man, there's something about this game that I'm leaning towards Seattle, and I can't get away from it. And normally during the regular season, I go against the feeling like when I'm fully 100% convinced that this team is going to win, I'll go against them because it normally wins. It normally goes that way. But not today. I'm going with Seattle to get the upset and beat the 49ers because Seattle knows this team. They've gone back and forth. Last year, the Seahawks swept the 49ers. I was just looking at the database of history of the Niners versus the Seahawks, and I want to see when's the last time the 49ers went on a 3-game win streak against the Seahawks, and it hasn't been this year or last year. So give me the Seahawks in the upset because it's in divisional. And you also made me think of the Vikings. Remember the moon game when Randy Moss mooned the Packers? The Packers had swept the Minnesota Vikings. That was in 2004. That was the year that the Eagles and the Patriots met and played in the Super Bowl. But anyways, yeah, the Vikings went into Lambeau and beat the Packers that day. So it's hard to beat a team twice, but it's even harder to beat them 3 times. And Seattle, hey, let it rip. They're not supposed to be in this position. Remember, they were only
Yep.
supposed to have 4 to 5 wins this year. So yeah, give me the team with nothing to lose, and all the pressure's on San Francisco. And even if San Francisco does win this game, they're going to have to host probably the Minnesota Vikings, a team that you don't know they're going to come out. But yeah, I'm going with Seattle in this one.
Yeah, this one, this one again. Well, I'll finish. I like a lot of things you said right there. Um, I Seattle has to run the game, run the ball in this game. They have to. The pass rush for the Niners is going to try to overwhelm Geno Smith. Sometimes Geno Smith holds onto the ball, so it's going to come down to two things for me. I trust that the Seahawks defense is going to do a good job. They're not going to give up 45 points or nothing like that. So they're going to keep you in the game. I think what's going to come down to, can the Seahawks establish the run, number one, and because that'll open up the play action. And number two, will Geno Smith make stupid throws or take unnecessary sacks? That seems to be drive killers that have hurt the Seahawks. And so if those two things can happen, this game can be a lot closer than people think. And I like what you said because everyone in the media is just thinking, hey, this is going to be a walkover game. You know, like this is going to be the biggest blowout of the week. Don't worry about it. Like they're even trusting Baltimore better with Cincinnati, that we'll get into later. But they're totally not giving the Hawks any credit. And yes, I'm right there with you. It's been fantastic. If this team would have won 5 games, I would have been happy too. I'm always happy with what the Seahawks do, but if they have a down season, have a good roster, then it sucks if they don't accomplish things. And I saw that towards the end of the year. I got a little disappointed because I thought the team should win more games, as you saw that they were far ahead of where they were supposed to be. And winning a couple of those games, it wouldn't be in this spot. But hey, they're in the playoffs, like you said. They're playing with house money. The Niners have everything to lose. They have to win, and maybe that everything to lose stuff, if Seattle punches them in the face early, they start to feel the pressure and they make mistakes. That's what we've seen many a times. And as far as the Seahawks versus the Niners, Russell Wilson was 13-4 all time against the Niners. The Niners haven't swept the Seahawks in a very long time.
Yeah, I can't get away from it, man. Like, how long are the 49ers going to play? How long are they going to win? Like, there's no way they're going to go 15-0, 15 straight games into the Super Bowl. There's no way possible. I got to see it to believe it, bro. It's hard for me to believe that the 49ers, yes, they're a really good team, but for them to have a divisional opponent in the first game of the playoff, no, give me the Seahawks, bro. Give me the Seahawks. Upsets happen all the time.
Exactly.
If the NFL was that easy to predict, that nobody would watch it. That's what makes it. I've always lived by that standard for the last few years. If the NFL was that predictable, where this team's been playing so much better, but teams, divisional games, those are the ones that the teams always get upset right there, man. It happens all the time.
Yeah, and like to quote one more guy, I don't like Max Kellerman a lot, but he did say something the other day. He said that a 10-game winning streak going into the postseason it doesn't make him feel too good. He likes teams that maybe lose 3 or 4 weeks before the end of the regular season or even the last game or two, because he says a 10-game winning streak going into the postseason just means you're due to get beat at some point. So they went over stats as far as teams with long winning streaks heading into the postseason, and there's something like a 25% or less chance for that team to reach the Super Bowl. So just let that sink in. Let's jump to the next game on Saturday, which will be the evening game. The Los Angeles Chargers of San Diego of Western Hemisphere of California of China are 10-7. They finished the year, and they're going to play the Jacksonville Jaguars, arguably one of the hottest teams going into the postseason, 9-8. You have Herbert's a second-year quarterback too, or is he third year?
I want to say no. This is his third year.
Okay, so you got a third-year quarterback in Justin Herbert making the playoffs versus sophomore year of Trevor Lawrence making the playoffs. In this game, though, the fans poll, they have they're going for the Jaguars. Actually, 60% are favored in this game. Tickets are going for as low as $106. They've already been sold out for this playoff game. The Chargers, though, are 2-point favorite, and the weather is 56 degrees and clear. So the weather should not be an issue. Who do you got in this game? This one's a toss-up to me.
Yeah, it sounds like a toss up, and you can see why it's a toss up. But man, bro, this comes down to the defense that the Jaguars got. They've been improving their defense game by game. They've been in a lot of close games against some of the best teams on their schedule. Um, I don't trust Brandon Staley to make this answer short and sweet. I'm going to go with the Jacksonville Jaguars. I don't trust that dude Brandon Staley at all. Look at the way he's always managed a team. Doug Peterson, he took a team that didn't make the playoffs last year, a team that everybody didn't really look at to make the playoffs this year. Into the playoffs in his first season as head coach. I trust Doug Peterson. He's going to make the right calls. He's going to outcoach Brandon Staley because honestly, Brandon Staley's he's not trustworthy, bro. So I'm going with the Jacksonville Jaguars. I know it's not the greatest take for me to give, but I'm not trying to sit here and hog up this one entire show on this game right here because I'm 100% confident that the Jacksonville Jaguars are going to win this game outright.
That is going to be a tough place to play. If you saw anything what those fans that were doing on Thursday for that playoff game, they showed up. I give them a lot of credit. They are going to definitely play a freaking part in this game. And I'm with you. I think Herbert can do it, but the Chargers are going to do Charger things, and that's the only reason why. Staley has made a big issue about changing the culture of that team. I don't think he's done it yet. Yes, they have a lot of flashy weapons, but I'm with you, man. I'm going to go against Staley, and I'm going to take the hometown team and that hometown crowd. I think Jacksonville gets it done.
Yeah, it's hard to do that defense. The defense, and then all those wide receivers from Jacksonville. Injuries.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, think about the injuries that are plaguing the Chargers. So, I mean, it's hard to go with the Chargers. I see why people would pick the Chargers because of Herbert, but Herbert's got to deal with that Jaguars defense. They smothered Joshua Dobbs.
Yep, I agree. So that'll move us to the Miami Dolphins, 9-8, just sneaking their way into the postseason. They're 3-6 on the road versus the Buffalo Bills, who probably should have been the number one seed. They are going to host this game. Tickets go for $114, lowest in the lowest seat or the highest seat or whatever you want to call it. The Dolphins are a 13-point underdog in this game. It's going to be 28 degrees with a chance of snow flurries, but mostly cloudy. Buffalo Bills and Miami Dolphins. Third time's a charm for the Dolphins because they split during the regular season, or do the Buffalo continue to dominate?
Bro, I'm trying to envision this game playing out in my head right now, and I'm thinking can the Dolphins go back and forth with the Buffalo Bills? Can they sit here and put up 40-something points? Because the Buffalo Bills can do it. They've done it time and time again, and they have fun while they're playing football. And this is a home game, and they got the momentum of DeMar Hamlin being back in town. He's going to be in attendance. Oh, man, yeah, give me the Buffalo Bills. DeMar Hamlin is going to be a key factor in this playoff run for the Buffalo Bills, man. I know I've been riding high with the Cincinnati Bengals throughout the season, but when you got something like DeMar Hamlin that they ride with and they look at him as like a brother, they're gonna use him as a blue chip and a momentum factor in the playoffs. So give me the Buffalo Bills.
I agree. And then this game, even if they had Tua starting the game, I would still lean towards the Bills. I didn't even think about that. The DeMar thing is going to be a huge momentum shift. You saw that. Yeah, you saw that against New England, and New England probably played some of their best football and still lost by 12. So, I think Buffalo steamrolls the Dolphins in this one. I think this one has the potential to be the biggest blowout of the weekend.
Yeah, I agree. It's hard not to. I was looking at the other games, but yeah, I agree.
All right, let's move on to the next game right here. And this one obviously is your boys right here. Oops, hold on. It obviously is your boys right here. The Minnesota Vikings, 13-4. They are very tough at home. Very underrated. A place where a lot of people say, oh, it's just Minnesota. To me, is a bigger, with the horn thing, the fans just seem louder in Minnesota than they did in the old Metrodome. But the Vikings are 8-1 at home this year versus the Giants, who I believe played them earlier in the year and played them pretty damn tough. The Giants are 9-7, 4-4 on the road. Some people are calling for this to be the upset of the week. They are only a 3-point underdog in this game. The weather is not a factor. Who do you got winning? Your boys or the Giants?
Oh man, I tell you what. I hope Minnesota goes into this game as a full. Well, they're already they're predicted to win by 3 points, but there's a lot of people that are picking the New York Giants. And just like you said, people are predicting to be that this is the upset, which I don't understand how everybody hates the Minnesota Vikings in the fashion that they've gotten to this point of the season. I don't get it. I don't get it, bro. I don't get it. But I'm gonna go with Minnesota having to win this game. I'm not gonna call for a blowout. I'm not gonna call for a close game. I'm just gonna call them to win the game. They need this win so bad because if they get beat by they played Christmas Eve, but they also needed a 61 yarder to beat the New York Giants. But that's just the type of team that Minnesota is this year. And for such an unpredictable season that we could predict in the beginning of the first half of the season, Minnesota fits the bill for this season. They fit everything that the NFL was this year. Like you expected this to happen, and everything was just completely sideways. And Minnesota got to the playoffs that way. They got to the playoffs sideways. So I mean, give me another close win, give me a blowout win. It doesn't matter. I'm going with Minnesota in this game.
Okay, well, my take on this game is the Giants playing them tough earlier in the year, and they need to figure out who their quarterback is. The coach seems to like him. They think they're moving forward. Saquon, is the man right there, but they don't really have any receivers. The defense has been playing above their heads all year. They've got a really nice scheme. They could give the Vikings a little problem, but see, you've got so many freaking weapons. It's a different Vikings team since the trade from Detroit. And you got that tight end, Hutchinson. You got freaking Thielen. You got Jefferson. You got a couple rookies on the side that make a lot of plays. You got the running game with Matson and also Cook. So you've got a ton of weapons. The offensive line is better than it was last year. I think no one's looking at that. They look at all the stars, but the Vikings offensive line has been much better keeping Cousins upright and giving him more time to throw. So if he's back there sitting and able to work that play action pass, I like the Vikings in a good win, maybe 10 or more points at home. However, if the Giants are able to run the ball, the quarterback sneak, the run pass option, and control the time of possession, the Vikings tend to get a little desperate when they don't have the ball as much as they'd like to. So I still like the Vikings, but this one really is going to be a dangerous game. I don't think this was the matchup the Vikings wanted in the first round, but at least they're at home, so I'm going to give the edge to the Vikings. Okay, you got any more on it or no?
Oh no, I was just waiting for you to move on to the next game. I just didn't want to sit too long on one game.
Oh, okay.
Split here in a little bit.
Oh, all right, no worries. Let's see. So the next game is going to be the Baltimore Ravens, who are 10-7, and they come in a little banged up, of course, and really they haven't outright said who's going to be the starting quarterback in this one. They're still questionable as Lamar Jackson. Huntley's even questionable in this one. But I know one of those two should be starting, and despite that fact, the Bengals are still at 8.5-point favorite. Tickets going as low as $177 for the lowest seat. The lowest seat in Minnesota, by the way, was $113. But this one's going to be 41 degrees and cloudy in Cincinnati. Who do you say wins in this one, man? The division champs or the former division champs?
Man, give me Cincinnati versus Buffalo in the next round. Or no, that's not going to happen. Give me Cincinnati and Buffalo moving on from the wild cards to the divisional round. Baltimore just does not have anything to go back. Unless Baltimore's defense goes retro and they bring up the 2000 Ravens, this is going to be a blowout, bro. Like Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, Boyd. They even got Hayden Hurst, Mixon if he comes back and plays back to his beginning of the season for everything. Bengals, bro, it's going to be a stomping. Give me Cincinnati over the Ravens.
Cincinnati with Mixon and, like you said, those weapons that they have. Joe Burrow, as good as he looked last year down the stretch and into the postseason, he looks better right now. He looks better. He looks like he's ramped it up a notch. The Bengals' defense is better than last year, which is, again, for some reason, people keep overlooking that Bengals defense. The Bengals defense is very aggressive, and they're a very good defense. And if the Ravens can't run the ball in this game and they're forced to throw no matter who's back there at quarterback, forget it. I mean, I'm right there with you. This could be a blowout. And this is not one of those things where I'm looking at, the Ravens got a chance. Anybody has a chance at any given Sunday, but this to me is an overwhelming game. I don't think with that home crowd and the Baltimore Ravens coming in not as strong as they've usually been. Even if Lamar Jackson's playing, he's playing with a bum knee, so you can't run all those plays that they normally run.
Yeah, and that's a big one right there too.
Yeah, and he's not the most accurate quarterback. Everyone always says Lamar Jackson's a good quarterback. He doesn't lead the league ever in throwing. He doesn't even come close to the top 10. And to me,
he's an exciting quarterback. Let's just call it what it is. He's an exciting quarterback. If you're looking for highlight plays, he fits the bill. He's going to be the type of guy you want to play with on like Madden because it's fun to play with a guy like that. He's exciting. He's explosive. He gives you explosive plays, but those plays don't always win you the game. You know, like when he's a YouTube type of quarterback that you can just get a punch in NFL highlights. He'll pop up. I mean, let's just call it what it is. He's exciting. He's exciting. That's all he is. He's very exciting, and as far as like a clutch quarterback, I wouldn't pick him. I pick Burrow over him, and that's why I'm going with the Bengals because if this game does come down, I'm not saying it's a close game, but it's going to be a blowout. But if it does, let's say it does come down to a close game for whatever reason, who do you trust more at this point in their careers, the former MVP or Joe Burrow? That's crazy to present a question like that. Joe Burrow or the former MVP? I would go with Joe Burrow.
Exactly, because if it comes down to the Bengals with a 4-point lead and a minute and a half left to go, no timeouts for the Ravens, he's got to drive him 80 yards down 4.
Has he ever done that?
Nope. And what do you need to do usually in those situations? Pass the ball and get out of bounds. He'll try to run the ball.
Wide receiver?
What's that?
And who does he have at wide receiver?
Exactly. Nobody.
That's why if I'm not sitting here trying to trash the Baltimore. I'm trying to just speak logic. Like if the Ravens had, let's just say the Ravens did something crazy in the offseason where they traded and got Justin Jefferson. Now we're talking Lamar Jackson, Justin Jefferson. Now you can start picking Lamar Jackson and the Ravens to win these type of games because now so much attention is going to go to Justin Jefferson, and then you got to also bring in the tight ends. But yeah, I don't see how Baltimore is going to hang in this game at all, man. This game might be over by halftime.
I agree. It has very much potential to be that way. So now let's get into the final game, which ESPN and all the other networks are just whacking themselves off for because they love to do this. You kind of felt when this was the matchup that this was what they were going to do. This is the first year of them doing a Monday night wildcard game, and it's going to continue because the money is there. Tickets are going as low as $165 game. It's $65 to sit in the nosebleed. Tampa Bay, for the third time in 2 years, will face off against the Dallas Cowboys, but this time, first time in the postseason, second time in Tampa. Tom Brady versus Dak Prescott and the Dallas Cowboys. Dallas Cowboys are only 2.5-point underdogs. It'll be 68 degrees and clear down in Tampa for Monday Night Football. Dallas and Dak, 15 interceptions in 12 games versus Tampa Bay, who can't run the ball really, and Brady's going to throw for 45 times, but that defense of Tampa, and Tampa has shut down Dallas 2 years in a row. Can they do it again in the postseason? What say you?
Absolutely. Give me the Buccaneers. Fire up the cannons. Fire the cannons. I don't believe in the Dak Prescott effect. I don't believe in anything that the start presents. I'm 100% sure on this one. This one is my number one lock of the whole entire wild card right here. Obviously, you can go with Cincinnati over Baltimore. That one's kind of easy. But this one right here specific, I'm going with Tampa Bay because it's going to be outdoors. It's going to be in Florida. Tom Brady, you do not want to see him. Dude, he like I said, like a week or two ago, I said Tom Brady's like this season. He's playing the character of he's that one guy that when you think he's gonna get beat, that's when he comes back and wins. And when you think he's gonna win, that's when he comes back and loses. Like it's hard to figure out the Buccaneers this year. But I think with his legendary status and him knowing now his season begins. Now everybody's 0-0 record wise. The Dallas Cowboys got all the pressure in the world, even if they're underdogs or whatnot. Everybody's going to sit there and talk about we've been boys and all that, but I'm going with the Buccaneers, man. It's for me, it's so easy to see the Buccaneers winning this game.
I agree. I'm kind of like in the same situation like with the Vikings, but the Cowboys they're more dramatic. Whereas as far as you play keep away with them, and they panic and they try to run up tempo and they make mistakes. Dak makes mistakes. He'll fumble the ball. He's thrown picks. And they'll get away from the running game. They panic, and Mike McCarthy will do that, and he'll take chances. He'll go for it on fourth down. This is a veteran Tampa Bay team that's been there, done that. Leonard Fournette, I believe if he gets anywhere going on the ground, Dallas is in trouble. Tom Brady will exploit it with those little passes and those quick outs and screen passes, and then he'll take some deep shots. So I do like Tampa to win this game as well. It'll be close, but I think Dallas will make some mistakes. I think they're going to be feeling all the pressure for the Buccaneers again are playing with house money because they won an easy ass division. No one's expecting them to do anything in the postseason, but you got Tom Brady, like you said. Tom Brady always wins those games, like you said. I'm totally agreeing with you right there. I think the Buccaneers win something like 21-17. I've watched a lot of Tampa Bay games, unfortunately, and that's how they beat us. Is they got out to a nice little lead and they put the pressure on with that pass rush and blitzes and stunts. And Byron Leftwich was calling the good plays for Tampa Bay and just playing keep away. And they put pressure on you to make the most of your drives, especially in the second half, and that's where you make your mistakes. So I like Tampa Bay in this one as well.
So, okay, we disagreed on Seattle and 49ers. You're going with the 49ers. So your prediction is Minnesota going to San Francisco in the divisional round and Tampa Bay going into Philadelphia for the rematch from last year's wild card game. This time, Tampa Bay goes to Philadelphia. Last year, Philadelphia went into Tampa Bay and they got absolutely destroyed. So that'll be the fun one right there. But with me, I picked the Seahawks to win, so that'll bring Tom Brady to Minnesota, and that'll put Seattle to go to Philadelphia, the Battle of the Birds in the NFC. How you feel about that one?
Dude, I'm just happy they'd be playing again. I wouldn't care what happens.
Yeah, as far as the AFC, man, it's looking like we agreed on every single game in the AFC. It was kind of easy. It was let me see who are the faces, who's facing who. The number 2 seed will face the number 4 seed, which is the Buffalo Bills hosting the Jacksonville Jaguars, and then the Cincinnati Bengals going. I think I got that wrong. Number 3. Oh yeah, Cincinnati going into Buffalo. A divisional round. Go figure, the two teams that were supposed to play a couple weeks ago, and then Kansas City versus Jacksonville.
And that Jacksonville game might be a little closer than people think. Crooked might take a loss in that game.
Hey, Jacksonville, just like Seattle, is not supposed to be in the playoffs. Remember that. They got nothing to lose.
Yep.
Kansas City, all the pressure is going to be on them, and they might overlook Jacksonville. You just don't want to do that to a crazy team like Jacksonville.
Exactly. I mean, look what happened with Detroit. They had nothing to play for other than to ruin the Packers' season, and they're out there using flea flickers and
that play was crazy. That one was that one I think that's the one before that was a play before they put the game away, right? Where it was a flats where Jared Goff threw it in a flats, the receiver caught it, and then he just bounced it off to the running back, and then he took.
No, the flea flicker was called back. That was early in the first half where they pitched it to the running back and then he pitched it back to the quarterback, but they called it back on the holding. The one you're talking about is the hook and ladder where they threw it to the receiver and then he pitched it right away on the receiver and he took it down and almost got the first down on 2nd and 19. So,
hold on. I know. You have something else to say, but man, right now I'm just thinking about the game that I went to Minnesota at Ford Field against the Lions, bro. Look, the Detroit Lions, when the game gets real tight, they're known for this. They're starting to build a trend. They were about to punt the ball, right, but they got us with a pump fake. And then at the very end of the game to put us away, it was like 3rd and 8 or 3rd and 6 or something like that. And next thing you know, Penny Sewell, the left tackle, comes in as a receiver. He's eligible, right?
Oh, I saw that. Yeah.
And then they motion him Jared Goff motions him, and everybody on the defense is like, "What the hell? That's an offensive lineman." Dude, he takes off, he darts, dude, like a big man. He caught it and he dove right in, he got the first down. I was like, "What the hell just happened?" I was like, "Fucking Detroit, man."
Well, see, that's good aggressive play calling because most coaches like Seattle, it'll be 2nd down. The team's expecting a run, so you waste their timeout. A team like Detroit's going to be like, no, fuck it. We don't want to put our defense out there anymore. We're going to go for the first down. So
that dude, I'll tell you what, that dude's one of the bigger alpha coaches out there. Dan Campbell. That dude's got, as Vince McMahon used to say in his time in WWF when they were in the Attitude Era, great fruits. That dude's got great fruits.
Yeah, remember. I mean, this team started 1-6 and they finished 9-8. So teams like that are dangerous. Like you said, Jacksonville started the same way. Started hot, went really cold, and then finished the year really hot. So they're in there. They're going to do some things, and if they play against Kansas City, Jacksonville back in the day, a lot of people forget when they made their run to the when Mark Brunell made it all the way to the AFC Championship game against Denver and nearly knocked them. Oh no, they did knock them off. It was I forget who they lost to in the championship game, but the Jaguars went all the way to the AFC Championship game because they just didn't care. Like they just went out there and played football and had fun. So
what year was it?
shit. I'm trying to think. It was the year
You
after.
said Mark Brunell, right?
Yeah, it was Mark Brunell with the Jaguars. I know they got to the AFC Championship. I'll have to look that up.
If you remember what year, I might be able to tell you who made the Super Bowl, who beat them in the playoffs.
Let me see. What year was that? Because the last time they've been to the AFC Championship, it was when they played New England and lost. They had a lead in that one. But there was another time. Shoot. Let's see what year they went here.
Was it the Titans? 1999?
I think so. Yeah, when they lost in 99.
Yeah, because I'm looking up Jaguars AFC title games, and that was the first one was the Patriots Jaguars, and then the other one's the Titans versus the Jaguars. Because the Jaguars, I think they came into the NFL in like the mid '90s or something like that. Because I know Carolina came into the NFL in like the year 2001
Okay, so it was
or earlier than that. Might have been. I know that they were like two expecting teams real close together, Carolina and Jacksonville.
Hold on. It was let's see, Jaguars been no, it was another fucking year. Hold on a second here. Because it was before that. They had won the division in 98 and 99. But they had beat the Broncos and John Elway. Hold on. I'll just look it up there. I was trying to look it up by year. Let's see.
John Elway retired in '98. I want to say
1996. It was 96. The Jaguars are last seed, and they got all the way to the AFC Championship game. They beat the Broncos in the second round when the Broncos had the first round bye. They were 13-3, and the Jags went in there and beat them up. So it can happen.
Yeah, never underestimate the heart of a champion, as they say. And Trevor Lawrence, he's up until last season in Jacksonville, he was known as an all-time winner. I think he only had he's like Joe Burrow, only has like one loss in his college career.
Exactly. So there you go. Well, if you got anything else.
No, I mean we could cover a little bit of the Packers and the Lions game if you wanted to do that because we didn't get a chance to do that yesterday. But it's up to you if you want to do that or not.
Yeah, I got a couple minutes. I'll just say this: with the Packers winning that game or losing that game, Aaron Rodgers could be his final game right there. The Lions, all the credit in the world. They put my Seahawks in the postseason. They could have just laid down and rested their starters. But that team has a lot of pride. They wanted to finish over 500, and they wanted to, go out on a high note and take out their division rival. And I think next year that's going to make the rivalry go to another level.
Yeah, and for Rodgers to come out and say that he needs time away from the game, that's bad. Alan Lazard just came out and he said that he's not going to return to Green Bay. Alan Lazard. So they're going to have Romeo Doubs, and they're going to have Christian Watson at their 1-2, and then they're probably going to end up drafting another wide receiver. So they're going to have a young core of wide receivers. They're going to need a tight end because I don't think their two tight ends currently are like set in stone. What do you want to call them? Franchise type tight ends, if there is such a thing. They need to upgrade at tight end, and then they also need to work on that offensive line. And then if Jordan Love hears that Rodgers coming back, then Jordan Love might sit out or he might want to demand a trade. And you can't blame him. He got drafted to be a quarterback in the NFL. Everybody wants to see Jordan Love. Packers and non-Packer fans, we all want to see if the kid's got it. Like, if he doesn't got it, but Green Bay's in such a tough spot because Aaron Rodgers, Green Bay was to trade Aaron Rodgers. They would get hit with like a $90 to $100 million dead cap hit against the salary. So good luck with that one, Green Bay. And if Rodgers does come back, well, you can't be sitting here talking about his stomach messed up anymore because that excuse is going to be out the window. Because him getting that type of money, man, there's no excuse good enough for unless he's almost dies on the field. I know I shouldn't say nothing like that, but I mean, dude, he's been around for so long, and he's starting to act like Brett Favre, talking about I'm gonna take time away from the game and all this and that. Like, dude, he just doesn't want. Let's just be honest. He doesn't want to be a part of training camp. He doesn't want to be a part of it. So they need to cater to him like the Bucks cater to the Tom Brady. That's all it comes down to. He's at that age in his career where he needs to get catered to, and the team needs to basically bow down to him.
If they're going to stick with him and his legacy, you know. So it's going to be an interesting offseason because we've talked about it on yesterday's show. There's going to be so many quarterbacks changing addresses or new quarterbacks getting new jobs. The Packers one might be a number one spot because you never know. Jordan Love may not be the guy there. And whether they hitch their wagon to him or not, you know, it is what it is. You know, they might give him a shot, or they might just say, hey, Rodgers, please don't leave. Don't be another Brett Favre. Please, please, please finish your career here. So we'll see, man. There's just going to be a lot to consider because, again, you don't want to be throwing a lot of money at two quarterbacks on your roster, let alone one.
I
So,
think I think Jordan Love is on his last year of his rookie contract. He got drafted in two. I could be wrong. He got drafted the same year that Jefferson got drafted, which was in 2020. So 2021, 22, 23. This unless they pick up his fifth year option, this is his last year as a Packer. I can't
mhm.
see him signing. I gotta see it. I gotta see what they. Well, we're all gonna see what happens with Aaron Rodgers, but I don't know, man. If Rodgers comes back, he's gonna demand a trade.
Yep, yep. So it's going to be an interesting offseason, man. So with that being said, it was a great NFL season, my man. We got into a lot of games. We covered everything. Hopefully everyone can come back. We can get a bigger crowd for next season for the regular season pick'ems. We're going to do a lot of giveaways, stuff like that. This one was like a trial year run, so it worked out pretty decent. The playoffs are here. It's going to be a fun weekend. Um, and we'll know more going into Tuesday who's going to be left and how the final eight are going to match up, right?
Yeah, yeah. Before we leave, man, I got a question for you.
Go for
Are you ready for the Seahawks and the Eagles?
it. Don't jinx it, man. But oh man, I'm hoping. I'm hoping. Uh,
Dude, you gotta throw like a watch party, man. You gotta throw a watch party. You gotta turn on Facebook or something, dude. You gotta sit there and let people see the game. Like, cause if you guys beat the 49ers, dude, forget about it, man. Forget about it, man. I have to find a way where I get on this laptop and I switch from I transfer the Facebook feed into this channel and I'll title it Seahawks victory or something like that, just so that way everybody can see how you react when there's Seahawks playoff.
I'll guarantee you this, bro. If the Seahawks upset the Niners, I'm gonna reword the lyrics to "Bang Bang Niner Gang" to "Bang Bang Seahawk Gang," and I'm gonna troll the shit out of them live like that, and then I'll upload it to. I'll send you the video, or maybe I'll do it live on Skull Zone or something, man. Because I'm gonna give them some shit, man. If Seattle somehow pulls that off, dude, I'm gonna rewrite them lyrics and talk some shit for sure.
We're gonna definitely have to get you. We're gonna have to definitely upload it to Out of Bounds.
Exactly. All right, brother. Well, there you go. There's our picks. Hopefully, everyone has a good and safe NFL wildcard weekend, and the best to everybody out there.
Definitely. Have a good night.